How's it going, guys? Welcome back. The wait is finally over. Game week 1 is right around the corner. And this is my final FPL team draft before the season kicks off. I've tinkered, I've overthought, I've probably changed my captain about 10 times already. But this is where we've landed. I'll walk you through each pick, the big changes from my last draft, and why I think this squad is ready to hit the ground running until, of course, someone gets injured in training tomorrow. Let's get right into it. Starting with the goalkeeper and the backline. Sanchez remains my go-to keeper for game week 1, and honestly, there's very little reason to change that. At his price, you're getting a solid shot stopper who's capable of racking up those save points even in tougher fixtures. He's in a system that's well organized defensively, and he rarely makes the kind of mistakes that get you those frustrating minus points. For me, the biggest factor is stability. I know what I'm getting with S. Sanchez. I'm not having to rotate him week in, week out, and that peace of mind in FPL is worth a lot. Anderson keeps his spot too. Last season, Fulham's defensive data was actually a lot better than the number of goals they conceded, which tells me they were on the unlucky side of variance. If they can match their underlying stats this year, they could easily turn into a reliable clean sheet team. Anderson himself is nailed in that back four, offers a decent aerial threat from corners, and chips in with bonus points when they keep a shutout. He's not the flashiest pick, but he's the kind of player who can quietly tick along and rack up steady returns. Milenkovic is a new face in my squad, coming in for Neco Williams. I like Williams, but Milenkovic feels like the safer and more reliable option, a nailed starter, good positional sense, and physically dominant in the air. That aerial ability also makes him a real threat on set pieces, and we know in FPL, those odd-headed goals from defenders can make a big difference. Forest have looked well-drilled at the back in preseason, and I think they're going to be tough to break down this year. That combination of defensive solidity and goal threat makes him a really appealing pick. Then we have the high upside gamble, Jeremy Frimpong. Liverpool brought him in from Bayer Leverkusen, and if you've watched him in the Bundesliga, you'll know exactly why I'm excited. He's an explosive, attack-minded fullback who loves to get forward and link up play in the final third. He looked sharp in the Community Shield against Palace, and you can already see that direct running causing problems. The risk, as always under Aaron, is minutes, but if Frimpong locks down that starting role, he could be a points machine. Goals, assists, bonus points, it's all there if the minutes come. Definitely one to watch closely in the opening weeks. On to the midfielders then. Palmer keeps his spot in my midfield without a second thought. He's the heartbeat of Chelsea's attack. Everything goes through him, and he's also on penalties. Last season he showed not just quality, but consistency, which is rare for young players. He has that composure in front of goal, the vision to unlock defenses, and the confidence to demand the ball in big moments. You can see his influence growing game by game, and with Chelsea looking much sharper towards the end of last season, Palmer is exactly the kind of high-ceiling, high-involvement player you want in your FPL side from the get-go. This is one that I think is flying completely under the radar. Reinders coming in at just 5.5 million is insane value if he nails down the minutes. He's been one of Milan's most consistent performers in Serie A, capable of breaking lines with his passing and making those late, intelligent runs into the box. He's not just a playmaker, he's also got a shot on him from distance. People might overlook him early because he's new to the league, but I can easily see him becoming one of those season-long, why didn't I start with him players. A proper hidden gem if things click. Another fresh addition, and one I'm quite excited about, Cody Gakpo at 7.5 million gives you a cheap route into Liverpool's attack. With Luis Diaz moving to Bayern Munich, his path to minutes looks a lot clearer. Gakpo's versatility means he can play across the front line, but his best work often comes when he's central, arriving in the box at the right time and finishing with confidence. He's already proven he can deliver in the Premier League, and with Arne's system creating so many chances, It feels like only a matter of time before the returns start pouring. Rodgers stays, and I'm still just as confident in him despite that small preseason injury scare. The fact he's been pictured back in training puts those worries to bed. He's a relentless box-to-box midfielder who loves to ghost into the box late or go on those solo runs that open defenses. His football IQ means he's always in the right place, and that knack for timing runs makes him dangerous in games where the opposition switches off for even a second. If he stays fit, he's going to be a really steady FPL asset. And finally, Mo Salah, the king. I don't think there's much I need to say that people don't already know. He's one of the most consistent point scorers in FPL history. Even when Liverpool have an off day, Salah still finds a way to deliver, whether it's a goal, an assist, or both. His penalties just add another layer of security. Yes, he's expensive, but he's a set-and-forget type player who can absolutely explode in any given game week. For me, if you can fit him in, you do it. Simple as that. Now onto the forwards. First up, Mateta, the main man up top for Crystal Palace. He played around 70 minutes per match last season, and when he started, it was closer to 80, so he's a real fixture in that 11. He's physical, dangerous on set pieces, and in excellent form from pre-season. Palace's attack runs through him in a very direct way, and he's got that knack for being in the right place at the right time. He's one of those players you hate not owning because he'll inevitably score against you. Confident, clinical, and with a good opening run of fixtures, he feels like a strong pick to start the season. Ollie Watkins. As previously mentioned, the spearhead of Aston Villa's attack, and one of the most reliable forwards in the league when fit. He started 31 games last season, averaging 68 minutes per match, but when he's in the starting 11, he almost always plays the majority of the game. He's fast, makes intelligent runs, and is clinical in front of goal. There's no real competition for his spot, which is a huge plus in FPL terms. With Villa's opening fixtures looking very good, he's a safe pick who can deliver both goals and assists right out of the gate. Let's take a look at the bench then. Dubravka, my backup goalkeeper, and a very handy one at that. Newly signed for Burnley, and I'm fairly confident he'll secure that number one spot in due time. At just 4 million, having a playing keeper on the bench is always a smart safety net, especially if something unexpected happens with your starter. Richards stays in from previous drafts. Palace fans have been raving about him, and he's continued to impress in pre-season. He also rotates well with some of my starting defenders, which adds flexibility when the fixtures aren't perfect. Esteve from Burnley. Word is he's the most nailed option in that back four, which at 4 mil makes him a really steady bench choice. Mark Gui, the newcomer, newly signed for Sunderland, and here's the kicker, a 4.5 million forward who's gonna get minutes? That's rare gold in FPL terms. He might not be starting every game, but the fact he's involved at all at that price is huge for budget structure and bench strength. Okay, let's take a closer look on the players we sold. First off, a guy I could not have praised more in pre-season. Chris Wood. Yes, the man had a banger of a season last year, no denying that. But pre-season really puts me off Forest from an attacking perspective. Defensively, they're rock solid, and I'm all for their backline picks, but up top, it's looked dry. They've scored something like 1 goal in all of their friendlies, and that's just not the kind of form I want in my forwards. The decision here was to move the money around to strengthen midfield and defense where I think the value is better right now. Then we have Semenyo. This one stings a little. He's still a fantastic pick and massively underrated in my opinion, but the midfield is so stacked at the moment that someone had to miss out. His first fixture also isn't the most appealing, so for now, he's out. But make no mistake, it's very possible he finds his way back into my team later in the season. Over to Paquetá, another casualty of the overcrowded midfield. He's just a bit too much of a gamble right now. The upside is there. If he gets minutes and stays injury-free, he could have an excellent season. I'm also still not 100% sold on West Ham as a team, but if they start strong, I'd have no hesitation looking at Paquetá or other West Ham assets again. For now though, the safer play is to redistribute those funds. Now, let's take a closer look at the main three players brought in. Tijjani Reinders. What excites me about Reinders isn't just the price tag, it's the way he plays the game. At Milan, he was the engine, constantly breaking lines with his passing and driving runs. He's got that calmness under pressure, but also isn't afraid to get forward when the opportunity's there. At 5.5 mil, he doesn't need to be a superstar to be great value. A steady stream of minutes, the odd goal or assist, and he's already paying you back. The question is simply, will he start enough? If he does, this could be the definition of a set-and-forget budget mid. Cody Gakpo. This one's all about opportunity. With Diaz gone, Gakpo isn't just another rotation risk. He's now a frontline option in a Liverpool team that's transitioning into Arne Slot's attacking style. That's important, because Slot's system thrives on fluid movement and intelligent positioning. Two things Gakpo already excels at. He can play wide, he can play through the middle, and he's a very tidy finisher. At 7.5 mil, you're essentially getting a nailed Liverpool attacker for the price of a mid-tier midfielder, and that's rare. Jeremy Frimpong, he feels like the definition of high risk, high reward. From what we've seen at Leverkusen, and even in his short Liverpool appearances so far, this is a player who lives for the attacking third. His recovery pace is elite, and he times his runs into the box like a winger. That means, in FPL terms, you're looking at a defender who could realistically give you 5, maybe even 10 attacking returns over the season, if things click. Yes, he still has to cement his starting place, but if he does, he's the kind of asset that can blow up your rank in a good way. Now, a quick look at some players that had to go. Kelleher, Rodon, Diouf. Kelleher was already a bit of a gamble as a starting keeper for Brentford, but with that flag going into game week 1, it's one risk too many. I want my second goalkeeper fit and ready if needed, not sat in the physio room. Rodon was fine as a budget pick, but the team structure shifted. I needed his spot to free up funds elsewhere. Nothing against him, just a casualty of the upgrades. Diouf is in the same boat. I actually like him as a player, but when you're reworking the squad to squeeze in higher upside picks, some players just don't survive the cut. Short on some of the players in Milenkovic, Mark Q, and Dubravka. Milenkovic comes in as a safer, more nailed defensive option than I had before, plus he brings a real set-piece threat. Solid pick, simple as that. Mark, 4.5 million for a forward who's actually going to play at Sunderland. That's like finding a fiver in your old jeans. Perfect bench enabler. Dubravka joins as my backup keeper. He's just signed for Burnley, and I'm fairly confident he'll nail down that number 1 spot. Having a 4.0 keeper who could actually play is never a bad thing. Alright guys, that's the final draft locked in before game week 1. It's been a wild preseason, plenty of changes, and now it's time to see how it all plays out. I want to wish every single one of you the best of luck going into the new season. May your captain hauls be massive, your differentials deliver, and your bench points stay low. My masterpiece is finalized. Everyone else is basically playing for second place now. Good luck.